Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to our presentation today. This is the Cannabis Tech Stack Summit, which is hosted by NACAT Pros. And the purpose of this summit is to help accounting professionals equip you with the information you need to better serve your cannabis clients. So kicking things off for this summit will be featuring Biotrack, which is one of the industry's most widely used seed to sell platforms as well as POS systems. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the cannabis software or struggled to extract clean financial data, which I know a lot of us, I hear it every day that it's hard to get the sales numbers and things out of the information. Well, you're in the right place. This session was made for you. So leading this session today will be John from Biotrack, John Jacobs. Welcome.
Thanks, Naomi. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And he's going to walk us through some of the real reports, some of the integrations, and what accountants actually need to know to work with your business owners in this system. So I see a couple of people in here now. Just drop a comment of where you're tuning in from, and we will go ahead and share the presentation and get started. All right. Let's add this to the stage. All right. You can take it from here.
Perfect, Naomi. Well, thank you so much, for hosting this forum and inviting us on to talk. We really appreciate the opportunity. A little bit of background on myself before I jump into the presentation. I've been with Biotrack and All Leaves for around 8 years now at this point. So have definitely seen a lot through my years, many different market rollouts, a lot of software changes in the landscape. I work in the sales department, here at Biotrack. So throughout my time, we've demonstrated and sold software to cultivators, manufacturers, distributors, dispensaries, delivery operations, everything. And throughout that entire process, have definitely gained an understanding of, what data points are relevant for accounting purposes, and some tips and tricks around taxes, costs, sales, things like that. So in this presentation, we'll be covering accounting specific, functionality and data points within Biotrack here today. So, again, Naomi, thank you for having us.
And you'll probably get into this, but I'm not sure if you're noticing, but we have people all the way from Hawaii to the DMV and everywhere in between. So please touch on which states, if there are any states that you don't serve, or if you serve all states so that they can know.
Absolutely. I'll flip to the next slide. That'll be a perfect segue. At this point, we have a lot of products and a lot of services available in a lot of different markets. So today we'll be covering Biotrack specifically, but here on the slide is a breakdown of kind of our different offerings that we have available throughout the space. So whenever I first started with Biotrack, it was just Biotrack, and a lot has happened since then. So now below, we have a lot of different things going on, as you can see. And what we're doing over here is basically, integrating legacy industry knowledge and experience from the Biotrack and MJ Freeway teams with modern technology and resources, mainly driven from the All Leaves team. So we have a lot of different products and teams over here, a lot of technology and a lot of experiences that we're, combining together to ultimately try and drive value and, help the industry. On the Biotrack side, there's multiple different modules. There's cultivation, processing, distribution, and dispensary point of sale software. Now, on the Biotrack side, there's also a difference between the traceability system and the commercial software. The commercial software is what I'll be reviewing today. That system can sit on top of a Biotrack traceability system or a metric traceability system in any markets. It can also operate standalone in markets like Vermont or Arizona, where it's integrated with more like a state-owned traceability system in those cases. So, on the Biotrack side, there's a difference between traceability and commercial. We're talking about the commercial system. The traceability system is usually just a simple web-based government portal login. More comparable to, I'd say, a metric interface where it's more for compliance only, and just doing data entry. So the commercial software that I'm demonstrating today will have a few more cost, fields, accounting related features, and things like that. But, just know that there's multiple modules in multiple different markets. Beneath that, MJ Freeway, they're part of the family, here as well. They offer cultivation, processing, distribution, and dispensary point of sale software as well. Based on how things work out, that software is mainly only used in Pennsylvania and Puerto Rico, where the Biotrack software is available in every legal market. And beneath that, All Leaves is, really our newer, the web-based point of sale product, available in dispensary only, but it has a full suite of products at the dispensary level. So point of sale, e-commerce, it has a delivery application in-house for route optimization, payment processing, and that is in all metric markets. It's available in New York and Vermont as well from a reporting perspective. So, there's a lot of different things going on over here, but we're very excited about all the different offerings that we have available. Great. So drilling down a little bit just into the Biotrack piece in particular, which is what we'll be covering today. Kind of a recap again, there's a couple different softwares on the Biotrack side. First of all, the Biotrack traceability systems. This is just the web-based state portal login. This is really just a compliance tool only. So in Biotrack traceability markets, you have the option to use the traceability system, or at times you would use a software to integrate and report into that software. So, but the purpose of the traceability system is really at the government level. And that's for like a compliance tool only. What we'll be covering today is the Biotrack commercial software. Again, you can integrate this into metric in a metric state or into Biotrack in a Biotrack state. It's more a business software that offers more functions and features and reports the compliance data only into those traceability systems. The infrastructure of Biotrack is a bit unique from other things available in the space. Biotrack is a server-based program. So you could deploy it locally, or you could deploy it out of an AWS cloud server. First of all, just a local server. If someone's running Biotrack, that can just look like a desktop computer. That desktop computer can function as the server and double as a workstation as well. So the database is just hosted on site on that computer, but you can still access the data remotely. So the operators may have the server on site there, but accountants per se can install Biotrack on their computers at their houses and access the data remotely as well. So although the infrastructure is local to the operator, you can access the system remotely from other devices for purposes like accounting and reporting. The AWS cloud server is very similar, but instead of the server being hosted on a desktop computer, it's hosted through a cloud server. Where we see this most applicable is organizations with multiple locations, or full vertical operations spread into different regions geographically. The cloud server allows you to consolidate your infrastructure, host everything in the cloud, and maintain that remote access just like you would have with a local server as well. The data access options for accounting. So, right, that's the main question, right? How can I have access to the data I need, to do what I need to do from an accounting perspective? We're going to do a demo after the presentation, and I'll show some of the settings within the system itself. But some common things I see for accountants to gain access would be something like a read-only user, for example. So This gives the ability for the accountant to access the system to view the data, but nothing else. You don't want, Naomi probably doing sales on the point of sale remotely, or harvesting plants, doing adjustments. It's really read only. So there's permissions, around each user. So you're only accessing specific data points and only reading the data, not doing actions into the system. So there's safeguards behind that. Another way I've seen accountants gain access, to systems is direct server access. So because Biotrack is a server-based program, the clients control their database. So that allows the ability to give direct access to report off of that database, query data directly from the server. The Biotrack database is built off of something called Postgres SQL. It's a very common reporting and developer language. So people, with basic IT backgrounds have had the knowledge to access and query data directly from the customer's database as well. That's a couple different ways how I see folks get access to the data they need. And we'll show you some of that in the demo.
Okay.
Now, I'd say Biotrack, it's not a full-blown ERP system, right? I'd say this is a compliance tool with additional business features and reporting available. There will be a need for additional systems, maybe an accounting software or a task management system or an HR software. Biotrack's not going to roll everything up into one ERP, but it'll touch a few different spots pretty effectively. Overall, the focus is compliance, but it has business features and reporting on top of that. So some of those are fields like basic cost tracking, tax customization. So we'll show you how to build out all the tax rates specific to your jurisdiction to report off of on the back end. You can manage non-cannabis products through the same interface. So if you're selling things like lights or lighters or pipes, that can all be managed through the same interface. But of course, that has different accounting repercussions. So there's a way to separate that within the system. From a wholesale perspective, the system also does wholesale. It creates some basic invoicing and manifests as well. So those are just a few of the features, but overall Biotrack, it's not a full-blown ERP, but it does touch a few of those different areas. Yeah, Naomi?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, I know you're focused on the commercial. Will you show the traceability at all, or just the commercial back end? Or is there anything even to see in the...
Yeah, nothing there. It's all very state specific. I don't have access to a traceability system, Naomi.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. One thing I see that helps accounting accuracy is getting ahead of that upstream by data entry accuracy. And you can accomplish that by utilizing hardware integration. So when we go through this, we'll be clicking on a screen and going through features, but in a real life operation and environment, oftentimes you're scanning things to audit things or using integrated scales to audit product or do adjustments. So in order to get accurate data on the back end, you need accurate data on the front end, and the hardware integration really helps that. So, throughout, you'll see where different pieces of equipment could tie in. And then on the right side here as well, just some safeguards and things we have in place is regardless of what infrastructure you're on, a cloud server or a private on-site server, we've configured database backups to hard drives or other cloud servers of your choosing to make sure there's database redundancy. And then within the system, there's multi-factor authentication settings, permission settings. We've also passed third-party security audits, SOX Type 1 and Type 2 security audits. So there's a lot that goes into making the system, work well at the front end. Cool. We'll go through quite a few Biotrack reports today, all the way from cultivation through inventory through sales, either retail or wholesale. The one cool thing is all the reports are exportable via a CSV file into Excel. So every single report that I'm showing you today, the export button will always be there. You can click that and get it out into Excel. There's also some basic formatting and customization available as well. So rearranging columns, presetting filters, using groupings and things like that. So we'll show you, how to manipulate the reports as well.
Okay. All right, demo time. And if anybody has any questions as we go through, just drop them in the chat and we'll get those answered.
Awesome. Great. So everyone will obviously do things differently, here. But I'll demonstrate some basic features that you could build off of and kind of see the flexibility on how to use the system for, whatever different operation or workflow, people may have individually. So, this is Biotrack. We'll go through a few things starting on the Grow House tab. We'll focus and be a lot in this inventory management tab, reviewing costs and pricing fields. We'll be in the reports quite a bit as well. So this is what the back end looks like. You can see all the different categories of reports and then how many are within each category. So we'll be going through quite a few of these as well. The system does come with a basic time clock for clock in, clock out functionality. This isn't like an HR system by any means. It doesn't have robustness, but it's basically registering the clock ins and clock outs with a fingerprint scan or an employee PIN code. So this is just something basic included. You could also report against the time clock data as well. So folks clock in and clock out for shifts within the system. There's a section for employees, employee time clock, and timesheets. So you could run the timesheet log, for example, from today, and here's the data of my clock in that I just did. So you could filter this by employee, by location, if you're managing multiple, and also open up the different time frames here to pull historic data as well. So that's a pretty basic example there. We have, a basic time clock.
Nice. Okay.
Great. Also, to demonstrate the permission settings, we talked about read-only users and permission and access. This is the user build-out and the permission settings. So every user, whether you're an owner, employee, or accountant, will have a login, a PIN code, and a set of permissions. So this is where you could control, who has access to see and do what throughout the system. There's, quite a long list and reporting specific settings as well. So you can really get granular in terms of what reports and data you'd like to give access to each user through the system.
Yeah, so I can see where this is, a point where if the business owner hasn't given the accountant access to certain reports, then that can create problems. So that would be like the first question. Did I get access to the inventory reports or the sales reports?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that can change and evolve as well. You could start out with an initial set of reports, modify it to give additional access at any point in time. There's also location specific permissions. So maybe you inherit the accounting from the cultivation as well. They could give you access to the cultivation location, the dispensary, however that needs to work out as well.
Now, those shortcut buttons all the way on the right, does that just, if you have administrator, it just has a set permissions, it'll check all the boxes that administrator generally would have? Okay.
Correct. Yep. Defaults to presets by clicking these. Yep.
Got it.
And then they can be modified from there as well. Also, from a very granular level, things like, do you give someone permission to adjust inventory? But then you can limit the amount of the adjustments as well. Or,
Mm.
do you want to give someone the ability to modify costs or not, or give discounts, but, specify how much they're allowed to? So there's also kind of some settings within these. For the example, the ability to give discounts, but limit that amount, only $5 for that user, things like that.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a section that's just reports? You said read only access?
Yes. So if you are an accountant with read-only user, right here, Naomi. So the permission to review reports are only specific reports.
Got it. Okay.
Awesome. Great. So demonstration-wise, we're going to start, we won't take something all the way from seed to sale, right? But we'll kind of start at a harvest process when something gets created in inventory and do some things from there. Now, we have some settings within the system to help data integrity, meaning, okay, let's require a cost to be entered upon harvest, or require a cost to be entered upon conversion, turning flour into joints or doing extraction. So you have these settings in the system where you can require a cost to be entered, for example, whenever you harvest here. So whenever you do a harvest, you could select multiple plants to harvest together at a time. Enter an aggregate weight of these four. And, no worries if you don't understand this cultivation part, we're going to batch some inventory and really take it from there. But just for a quick example, we're going to harvest 4 plants together and enter a wet weight of these plants. That's an aggregate wet weight that you can enter, and it'll divide and report per plant. Now, we weighed those 4 plants together for 2,000 grams total, and now they're drying. We can click harvest again. We'll just pretend we fast forward in time a bit there. So we recorded a wet weight on our plants. We'll fast forward in time. So let's say they cured for a few weeks. Now we're entering the dry weights of the plants. Maybe we collect some stems that we choose to discard, some leaves. And after having moisture loss, maybe we net 800 grams of flour. Now, this is really the important part here. We're about to batch 800 grams of flour, and that can have a cost associated with it right here. This is also where the scales can integrate to ensure that that data entry is correct upon harvest to get us off to a good start. I also see people use grading. This is a feature in Biotrack where you can create custom grades, and these can eventually affect prices as well down the line.
Oh, you have to enter your PIN for each change.
Correct. Yep. So there's record of who did that.
Got it.
We essentially just did a harvest and created a new batch of flour in our inventory. So Afghan Kush, 800 grams of bulk flour. It's been in my inventory for 0 days, and it's an A+ grade. This is a brand new batch of flour with a brand new barcode associated with it. These are the plants that are inside of this batch. Now, the setting would have required me to enter a cost right here. So you can force that data point to be entered, upon harvest. So this, is really the first important, cost-related data point, cost per gram for this batch. Now, another cool thing with Biotrack is each batch could have a different cost. This one could be 2. This one could have a different cost. at 2.5. So you can manage costs by batch in the system, or you could manage costs at a product level if you prefer that. So again, everybody does things differently. You have the ability at a batch level cost or at a product level. For example, my product level data for Afghan Kush, this has a static cost per unit of 3. So you could manage things from a product level or batch level. Now the batch level cost will trump the product level cost from a reporting perspective, if you have that. That's how to bring product in from a harvest. Now you could also bring product in from a purchasing perspective as well. So if you're a manufacturer, distributor, and you're not doing the cultivation, you could also bring inventory in from a third party. So here you'd say which vendor we're getting it from, what type of product we're bringing in. Let's bring in 1,000 grams, and then you could enter in what you're paying for this batch upon input. Or you could just click add, and that calculates the price, this time based on the product cost there. So it calculated $3 per gram. I'm bringing in 1,000 grams for $3,000. Bought that with cash. We also have a feature here for none. This allows you to bring in the product and essentially put it on accounts payable in this case. So we do have some basic accounting related features in terms of net 30 and 60, where you could bring inventory into the system, but handle it from a payout perspective at a later point in time. If there's any tax that affects this purchase, again, this is market by market. In a sec, I'll show you the tax build out tool. The PIN code is entered to bring the product into the facility. And now we have a brand new batch as well. Afghan Kush, bulk flower. Now we have a new batch that we brought in from an outside, 1,000 grams, cost per unit 3 on here.
Awesome. Okay.
I like the inventory report as well. So this is the inventory interface, where you're doing actions on inventory, bringing in product. You can also report against it back here. So in the inventory report, we'll run current inventory. That I just pulled all of my inventory from everywhere here. So you can see the amount of fields available. I'll just scroll across, but this opens it up, displays every inventory field on a report for you to see.
And so if I'm looking to close the month and I want to know everything that was purchased just for the month of July, would I be able to filter this like that?
Yes, that'd actually be like a transfers or a wholesale report for inbound filtered to the month, Naomi.
Okay.
I can definitely show you that. This report is just everything currently on hand. In terms of the inventory and all their carrying costs and prices essentially of data on hand. Now, a good use case for this would be how much inventory or cost do I have in a certain room or a category of a certain product, for example. So let me see what I have in stock of bulk flower. It updates the report. Okay. Let me see what I have in terms of bulk flower in backstock. Nothing in backstock.
So then how does this tell you the number of days it's been in inventory? Does it tell you if it's going to expire soon so that they can make decisions with discounts and things like that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So all those will be fields here. Expiration date, filter by any of these fields.
Okay, as long as it's been entered properly.
Correct. Yep.
Where's the is there like days it's been in the inventory?
Days in inventory. Yes, right here.
Days. There we go. Oh yeah, so that's an important one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, this is pretty okay. So this will help with creating KPIs for clients to help them figure out what to do with the inventory purchase strategy, things like that.
Absolutely. Now the cool part here too is, we offer this as like a blank slate. So we open up every column, every filter, everything available. Now, if days and costs, were important to you, for example, Naomi, you could customize this report. So you could drag this column over or drag it to the front. Rearrange things however they make sense or however it aligns with the back-end accounting system as well. So if you're doing exports out of Biotrack, importing into other systems, the ability to move these columns around to match formatting becomes important.
Mm.
You could also click customize here and unselect certain columns that you wanted to see or not as well.
And does that save to that user? So if I logged in, I see what I want to see, and if somebody else logs in, they see
You
the
can,
information I need.
yes.
Okay.
You could save report formats. Yep. So that's an example of current inventory. You could also look up things like your products and see just how all the products are set up or how the pricing is all set up for those products. So similar to how you're viewing inventory, now we're viewing it at the product level to just see how everything's set up from a high level. And to your point, this is helpful for data integrity. Which products don't I have costs associated with? It'd be easy to identify those gaps. You could double click that through the report and input a cost. So your data is clean. So that's the product report. All these are real-time reports as well. Since Biotrack is the server-based infrastructure, like all this report is real-time. It's not like the reports load every 30 minutes or every hour, or they batch at the end of the night. This is all real live data, being populated in real time from the server.
Nice. Okay.
One other thing I see, I'll do an adjustment just real quick. So let's say some of this product falls on the floor and we need to adjust it from 1,000 grams down to 990. You see the variance, you'll enter a reason. This is usually a drop-down list for state-specific compliant adjustment reasons that'll communicate in that bucket over the API to a given backend system. So the adjustments communicate with the traceability systems, and you have drop-downs for reasons here. I'm just typing in text for a broken package adjustment. The PIN code's required, the inventory gets adjusted, and then that's immediately accessible on the reports as well. So within inventory adjustments report from today, and here it is. So you can see that adjustment happened immediately. 10 grams done by John Jacobs. From an accounting perspective, here's our shrinkage. My cost per unit was $3. I lost $30 due to that adjustment. So calculating things like shrinkage monthly or annually, I see the adjustments report can be used for that. Again, everything exportable to Excel. Another common action other than an adjustment would be maybe a conversion. So conversions when you're turning one product into another. There's so much different flexibility in conversions. We'll make pre-rolls here. We'll convert some bulk flower into pre-rolls, but you could make eighths, quarters, ounces. You could do an extraction, make distillate. You can do intermediate to intermediate conversions. There's a lot of different things you can do to ultimately make whatever product you want. But in this case, I'm starting with flower, making a new product. Let's make a pre-roll. A 1 gram pre-roll. There we go. I'll use 100 grams of flour in this use case. And that will make 100 units of 1 gram pre-rolls. Now, my original cost per unit is 3. If you wanted to, you could bump that up, maybe 350 after the conversion for the conversion cost. You could also choose to put this into a room based on how you organize the inventory. So we did a very basic conversion there, turn flour into pre-rolls. In this case, the quantity reduced from the flour. And we'll have a brand new batch of pre-rolls. I need to...
And then everything from that original batch of flour follows that new pre-roll item now. The date it was purchased, the whatever batch ID. Okay.
Correct. So that'll be through the conversions report, where you'll have visibility essentially to the parent SKU. So the flour.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The new product that was made and essentially the child SKU that was created from it.
Now we have a question coming in from Bruce, and he's asking, how do we get the basic accounting formula where we can start with what was our beginning inventory for whatever period we're looking at, and then pull in any new products that were added, purchased, or harvested, and then remove any of these conversions or transfers so that we can get to what the ending inventory should be?
Okay.
We'd have to pull a bunch of reports or...
So if I'm understanding that correctly, I think that's just the current inventory report, but also the historical inventory report. So the historical inventory report is very nice. It gives you a snapshot of what your inventory was at any date and time. So if I was looking for my carrying cost on August 1st or total inventory value, August 1st, you use the historical inventory report to populate that, and that'll give you a total at the bottom. Then your ending inventory would just be the current inventory on a day. But this historical inventory, you could give yourself a snapshot in time of what the inventory was at any given date. Now, it's come up in terms of what was brought in and what was shipped out, or what was purchased or what was sold. That's separate from the historical or inventory report. That would be through the wholesale report, where you could see what was brought in or out during a given time period as well.
Okay, so you can put a start and end date to that report. Okay.
Absolutely. There's additional ways to view the wholesale as well. This is, in my mind, the best one. But there's also inventory transfers reports where I could run this. Okay, let me see my inventory transfers for the past 6 months in an inbound. So anything inbound transfers over a given time, I like using this direction filter here. So this is anything that came in during that month. This is anything that went out during that time period.
So are these would give you the same numbers as that wholesale report, or would these both need to be pulled?
They give the same numbers.
Okay.
The wholesale report has a little bit more additional detail in terms of the prices.
And the wholesale report is inbound and outbound?
Correct.
Okay, so then that would answer the question to any sales. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. There's some others too, wholesale payments report. So if you did use that functionality of, I'm bringing the inventory in for free, putting it on net 30, accounts receivable, this would give you the ability to see any payments applied to those.
And is there I guess you just have to pull to get the cost of goods sold, you would pull one of the sales or transfers or outbound reports, and your cost is there?
Correct. Wholesale tickets with total weight would be the best one for that. A lot of people run this by like customer as well, or by vendor on a filter. But this would have the columns available for cost, price, and tax. There's an additional wholesale report for summary. It's called the complex sales report. Oh, let me open it up for. This one you can run in the spreadsheet format through here, or the HTML format as well, which I'll show you both. But what we're looking at here is wholesale transfers by category from a summary perspective.
Okay. Oh, this is so helpful because some of the states require you do your state income tax or your state excise tax based on category.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So this would give you the reporting total by category, your in weight, quantity, and cost, and then your out, weight, quantity, cost, and profit. You get profit margin and percent by wholesale category. Then that can also drill down even further by product or by vendor. This is the best one probably for categorical sales like that. I do want to pivot real quick and show you the tax breakdown tool briefly.
So before you do that, we have another question related to this inventory. So Bruce is saying, what kind of reports for shrinkage or inventory losses? He's been through a state audit where the manufacturer used and reused scrap, and the state didn't understand how a manufacturer could have shrinkage reports with multiple turns. Is that something you're familiar with?
100%. So to start out, just a basic shrinkage report would maybe just be inventory adjustments report from a certain time period, kind of like we showed. And then this would be all your inventory adjustments from that time period. You'd have a cost related to that. So you could see like the shrinkage of how much money was lost due to these inventory adjustments. So But kind of taking that to a more complex level, like as part of the conversion tool that we have, Bruce, for example, if you're rerunning waste or reusing scrap to do additional conversions, we have a way to either record the conversion data as waste to the state or retain that inventory at a lesser level in here to be reconverted. So we have conversion waste data points, but ways to rerun things as well, if that's what you're asking. The tax piece is super important too. So this will all be specific to your jurisdiction. This is our tax tool, so you can see the flexibility of how to build everything per market. Now, Naomi, you just said sometimes there's different taxes by category. Right here, I have a flower category tax, concentrate, and edible, where these are all structured differently. Some things are based on just a flat percentage. Sometimes is based on a flat rate per milligram of THC, for example. So we have the ability to build out all these different tax categories through here. From a wholesale perspective, let's say we have an overall rate of 18%, 15% is excise, 3% is state. So 15.
Yeah. And then some states, it's a cumulative. So they charge the one first, and then is that what this is doing? Like the order that you put this in will affect the accumulation?
You can. Yep. Sometimes one has to be applied before the other, and then the previous is based on the total of the other. So yes, you can set orders, or it could just be a cumulative total based on city, state, county, excise, etc.
Okay.
So we've built all the different features needed to, like, and we work with you during onboarding here. You know, what state are you in? What jurisdiction are you in? We help guide to get the taxes built correctly here.
Okay.
Those are, of course, applied at sale, and then they can be reported against too. Oh, and just for example, too, maybe if you're doing non-cannabis sales, you just have a regular sales tax in the system as well.
Nice. Yeah. So this is huge, especially for any accountants who are watching this. Make sure that your client has this set up properly, or else they won't be collecting enough taxes to remit to the state, and then they'll have to come out of pocket for additional taxes. Or they may overpay if they're not differentiating between canna and non-canna sales. I see it so much with clients.
Absolutely. I'll show you the reporting just a bit there as well. So, every, like you saw, every sales report and wholesale report generally has a column for tax, on that line item, as a total, but you also have kind of a summary report, the tax breakdown report. So if I wanted to run total taxes for the last year, that's kind of what it looks like. And, again, I'm managing multiple locations here and multiple different states, but you can see, from a wholesale perspective, 17K in tax, 14 excise, 3 state. Or from any perspective, it gives you the total and breakdown.
Is there a report that also gives you the sales, like by product category, and then the tax, like everything?
So lots of different sales reports, and a lot of these will have columns for taxes, and you can use the filters and whatnot as well.
Okay.
So there's multiple that could get us kind of to the same point.
Yeah, I'd love to see an all-inclusive sales report that gives me my cost, the items that were sold by product category, the taxes, like everything in one.
Okay, great. No problem. So some of these will be more line item data. The all-in-one report, So there will be multiple accounting related reports, maybe the Z out for day to day, the cash close, but I think the complex sales report here is the best. We'll run that for a time period. Now this one populates out here. Complex sales report. This is the closest thing I can think of to a full summary. So tax for that time period and the breakdown. Total number of tickets, average ticket price, and then your breakdown by category right here.
Yeah, this is exactly. So by sales, the quantity, any discounts, costs. Yeah, this is the type of report that I like to see for my clients when doing the accounting.
Absolutely. Total unit sales, discounts given, costs and profit margin by category in both dollar amount and percent. Average price per units for the category, and then it will drill down as well. So within the bulk flower category, it'll show you what products or strains are driving that business as well.
Okay. Quantity is good too, because some tax reports, excise tax reports, require that rather than the sales price.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is important too. As more states are coming on, med and rec, the ability to report against those as an aggregate or separately as well. You'd be able to report med or rec sales in all these two filters.
And we have another question from Bruce. He's wanting to see the drill down on the state reports to get and verify the source.
I'm not sure if I totally understand.
Can you give us some more context, Bruce?
We will have forensics reporting, which is nice as well. So this shows you any action taken to any product at any given time. So this is like your action report. These were the actions that I was just doing today. So you can see, it outlines every action taken with detail.
Now, this is good for business owners so they can see if they have any rogue bud tenders or people who are doing some things to the inventory.
Absolutely.
So Bruce is saying, looking for a drill down without having to run a different set of reports. What information, Bruce, are you wanting to see in this drill down? Is that, you mean like in this, well.
Maybe that could be within the product, and, happy to go offline with it too, Bruce, and we can go as far as we need to. But yeah, the reports are great for the back end. In the interface itself, you can interact and kind of drill down. So here's all the batches that I have of a specific product. And then you can open up a batch here as well, see all that information, maybe the plants that are contained in it, any chain of custody information, sales history, test results as part of that batch as well.
Okay.
There's definitely a lot more, happy to address anybody's individual questions, but I'd say that this is a strength of Biotrack. Like, we just open up the back end, give you access to every data point, let you slice and dice it however you see fit is kind of the methodology.
Yeah, this seems pretty robust. And this, what we're looking at now, works for both the cultivator and the dispensary. This is also the POS interface, the Biotrack POS side.
Correct. Yeah, same reporting interface for that. Dispensaries running Biotrack. Do you gain an additional tab up top for customers? So this is the point of sale phase. Dispensary wise, there's definitely, accounting wise in terms of pricing, build out, tier management, discounts, loyalty, all sorts of things. But this would be the dispensary interface. Now, what we're really excited about, and Naomi's been kind enough to give us an additional session to show you guys our brand new point of sale as well. So we'll have kind of a different a presentation for more specifically dispensaries, and that'll be geared around more our brand new software, All Leaves, and you can see the interface is a bit more modern through here. So we have multiple different point of sales.
Awesome. So yes, everybody mark your calendars. We will have John back on September 9th at 10 a.m. It's always 10 a.m. Pacific time. If it comes through at a wrong time, alert me. But we try to do 10 a.m. on Tuesdays for these types of presentations. So September 9th, you'll start getting emails for that later on this month. Let's see. Let's see if there's any more questions. We are coming to the top of the hour. So Bruce is saying some companies provide a total of taxes that don't make sense. Very hard to reconcile. Yeah, I've seen that as well. So I like the level of detail that I'm seeing in your reports, John, because sometimes if it doesn't make sense, it's nice to be able to dig in and figure out where there's a discrepancy. Jacob is saying, with the customized mean you build your own reports. Oh, can you build your own reports in this backend?
Technically, yes. We have most of it tends to be available or customizable through the rearrangement of things. However, we do have the ability to do reports designer. Now, this requires some basic that SQL knowledge a bit, but you can click through the existing reports here on the left, see how it was written in SQL, adjust, create your new. So this button here would be insert report, like create new report. So yes, it is possible.
Okay. Yeah. Do you need to know code?
A bit. I mean, I couldn't make my own reports,
You have somebody on your team that would help. Like if I had a client and I really need a certain report, you have somebody that would help me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We definitely get a lot of requests, but we definitely, that's how we've gotten better. We prioritize those report requests and get them pushed out. Yep.
Okay. So Marta's question is, if she understands correctly, is if a dispensary running in New York, does that mean they're already using Biotrack? So I think Marta's might be confusing the traceability with this. Like they're not required to use this database, right?
Yeah, no worries. So in New York specifically, only the cultivators just now integrated to the traceability system, so they're turned on. The dispensary deadline is October 1st to be connected to traceability in New York. You can use whatever system you want as long as it integrates with the Biotrack traceability system on the back end come October 1st in New York, Marta.
Okay, awesome. Yep, Angela says it's October. And Richard is saying, with read-only access, can we build custom reports?
I would say no, but you could work with the operator to build a custom report and kind of work on the design requirements around that custom report, and then they would give you access to that.
All right, awesome. Any other questions? If not, I'm not sure, John, I'm going to close the screen share and you're off camera. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So Arlene is saying it's been a great deep dive. Okay, awesome. So looks like everybody got what they needed. You guys, again, join us in September, and John will be back with olives. Is there
Awesome.
anything else that you need to share, John?
No, thank you so much, everybody. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions, really under the sun, and we can delegate anything, appropriately amongst our team. And, thank you so much, Naomi, for the opportunity. And we look forward to September.
Awesome. Look forward to seeing you. Everybody, have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you.